Okay, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we are doing another strap review, but it will be a very special one because it's one that honestly I've had a lot of experience with in terms of this style of strap, but in terms of the general, the genuine Tropic branded strap, I was recently very surprised by them, and I have to say, to the point to where I was just like, I have to do a review and share my thoughts with you guys because I've absolutely used some Tropic straps that were just good enough. I've tried some that were also not so great, and this one just really knocked my socks off, and it made me understand why they cost what they cost. Because for a while there, I was kind of like, well, I mean, rubber's rubber, right? And then the pattern's a pattern, design's design. How much of a difference could there possibly be? And I have to say there's a pretty large difference. So I'll do my best to kind of point out some of those differences, also some of the improvements that they've just recently made, especially within their 20 millimeter line. There were some particular shortcomings that kind of kept me away from them until they recently updated it. It's been a very quiet update. They haven't really advertised it, but it's something that a lot of you may have been waiting for in terms of that particular change. Now, a little bit about the brand. Tropic, it's a 1960s original retro design, now softer and more comfortable, and it's just a super durable watch strap. It's designed in Switzerland and manufactured and tested in Italy. Tropic is proud to offer one of the best dive watch straps made of the highest quality rubber compounds available for your sports and dive watch. That's how they put it, but let's see how it puts up with these particular divers here. All right, before we dive in, they come in this pretty cool little box here. Nothing crazy, but again, Tropic branded, so I know there's a lot of the times you can find stuff, it says Tropic or Tropic style, whatever. There is a particular style, but these are the ones that are actually branded Tropic straps. The original company was revived, so this isn't like the exact same straps. They're actually much better. The originals were actually pretty stiff, just because of the way that rubber compounds were, and they were eventually kind of replaced by the isofrane straps, when then those eventually also kind of took their bow into other straps dominated. But these were kind of just the original, that era 50s 60s dive watch strap for skin divers, and that aesthetic is something that has carried on and still looks absolutely fantastic. These actually go for $79 MSRP. You can get them actually from Mark at Long Island Watch. He stocks these. The 20 millimeter I ordered directly from Tropic, and I ended up having to pay shipping, and I had to wait while it went through customs and all this other stuff. So I was really happy to see that Mark from Long Island stocked these. So definitely check him out. That's where I got the 22 millimeter strap, as well as this awesome SRPE 93 turtle. So on the other side here is going to be the SPB 317 Slim Turtle. So we got the Slim Turtle and we got the Turtle reissue, and I think it's actually a nice compare and contrast in terms of, without pulling in other types of Tropic straps, just the concept of, yes, there's good enough, and then there's the optimal version. So with that said, let's go ahead and pull up this nice 20 millimeter model here that's being sported. Oh, there's a little bit of dust there. Let's go ahead and show that. So the main difference, something that's updated, is look at that edge. It now has the rolled edge that's been on the 22 millimeter model for a while. They went with the original mold style, which had a flat cutoff. And that was something that really turned me off, because typically, unless the spring bar is butted up really, really close to the case, essentially you're going to see that rolled edge. And when it was a flat cutoff, it just was very disruptive. It didn't look great. So this rolled edge that was really kind of popularized by this bad boy here, the 22 millimeter model. Let that focus, as you can see there. Like, that's what I wanted for the 20mm. Also, you'll notice, look at that. It's just, I can't tell you how soft and pliable this is, but it's insane. There's no breaking this in. There's no, wrapping this around something and letting it get soft. There's no boiling it or anything. No tricks required. This compound that they use, as well as the way that they taper it, not only do they taper the width for comfort, they also taper the thickness. So you can see much thicker up here where you're going to need that strength, and then much thinner down here where you're going to want, of course, that flexibility, especially when you're double layering this underneath. So really beautiful. And for those of you Seiko fans out there, we'll just get these two watches together in frame, and I will help with the focus. There you go. So these are fantastic. Similar lineage, this being the Turtle reissue, which kind of is a reimagining of the 6306 and 6309 models, and then this being an updated reimagining of the 6105-8000 series. So these are kind of the beginnings of Seiko's cushion case dominance within the market. This being, I think the what's the word I'm looking for? The successor to that 63 MAS, and really this is where most of the Seiko diver design language was born. You get the 4 o'clock crown, you get that more barrel style case, and even when you get down to the indices with the split indice there at the 12 o'clock. So there's a lot of Seiko design heritage that's here. And then this one was probably one of Seiko's first huge commercial successes in terms of the dive watch space. Yes, they always had divers available, and they have a lot of heritage within that space and great brand provenance, but in terms of commercial success, the watch that this Turtle reissue is actually based on was the SKX before the SKX was. So and then eventually, of course, the SKX ran for tons of years, gosh, almost 20 years of production, and kind of became the new standard. This is a remake of kind of the older standard, and they really do speak to that vintage aesthetic, especially in the black and steel layout, which really sings on these Tropic style rubber straps. I'm so used to saying Tropic style, it's kind of like NATO, right? NATO style strap, but these are actual, I can call these actual Tropic straps. They're made out of vulcanized rubber. They're consider themselves the fully waterproof watch strap, which they should be. They're made in Italy from 100% vulcanized rubber, and then they feature, of course, that iconic tapestry design there on that texture. They're also perforated, as you'll see here on the other side. You can get a better idea. That's what's going to be on your wrist. So these small perforations that go along that tapestry weave pattern there are beautifully cut out and well placed, but then on the other side you see there's a lot more depth to it, and it also helps, again, your wrist breathe, whether it be because of sweat or because you're dipping in and out of water. So this doesn't attract any dust or fade from UV exposure, which is another nice feature set. These are also hypoallergenic, they're tear resistant, and honestly they're so soft you almost worry, like, could this tear? But they're actually really tough, which is nice. They're also immune to extreme heat or cold. So if you did want to wear this on, a winter adventure, you would still be fine, as well as, of course, summer, where it really just fits in. And then we also do have an updated buckle style, which is really nicely finished. You can see the two-tone finish. You're getting the top brushing and then the side high polished bevel with nice sharp transitions. And we'll also have a similar buckle here, which has been a staple of the 22mm line, but you can see now has made it down. Also, these keepers are fantastic. Look at the quality on these. It just matches perfectly. It's not overly thick. And if you were going to copy these, which a lot of brands have copied these, they kind of take the easy route and they make this you know, the end piping a lot thicker. And you know, here you can see quite delicate, beautifully scaled, so that even the rubber keepers are great. You don't have any weird kind of you know, portion that holds any keepers in place, so you can adjust them as you need. So typically I'd want that one to be butted up against the tang buckle, and then this one to capture and secure the tail end of this strap. In terms of specifications, it's going to have a short end, of course, here with the buckle, and a long end. The short end is going to be 85 millimeters, and the long end is going to be 125 millimeters. And then, of course, you have tons of adjustment there, guys. So those aren't things that are necessarily unique to this piece. But again, the best way to describe it is, you know, you have something as automatic, hand winding, you're getting hard legs, which I've never been able to scratch. You know, you have that shielded loom pip, hacking hand windable, a lot of goodies, right, that are in this watch. You're getting the Seiko DNA, but, you know, at the end of the day, this is technically a better piece, and it's even better executed. And in the dark, you're going to have absolute symmetry with this dial because of the way that they integrated that nice hidden circle cutout with the parallel. Like, if you're gonna do this style of date window, that is the way to do it. Yes, you have the basics there, right? It's a steel watch with pierced lugs. That skin diver aesthetic, it still shines through. You're getting everything fully indexed from that bezel insert, which is aluminum with a nice coating, so this will age well with the rest of the case. But also, you're gonna get on this one a little bit more premium, right? It's gonna have that hard coating from Seiko's, the Dia Shield, versus not having it coated here. So again, although it can do the job, kind of like those Tropic style straps that can just do the job, it is nice to kind of have something that does more than the job, right? That goes above and beyond and just gives you something extra, and something very, very special. And that's kind of how I like to see this. And no knock against a lot of those other Tropic style straps, but I have to say, like, I absolutely understand why these cost more. They're just flat out better. There have been some OEM straps that are similar to this design in the Tropic style that have really impressed me. Namely from Zodiac and Squall. But other than that, typically, if you're going to see this style of strap, and it's not branded Tropic, it's a cheaper variation of it. Cheaper from a cost perspective and cheaper from a quality perspective. Again, I haven't found anything in the aftermarket that comes anywhere close to these. It's really just been OEM branded options, and who knows, they might even use Tropic to make their straps. So I can't say for sure on those ones, but I have to say, supremely impressed with these. So let me just give you a little demo on how this will wear. You know, beautiful taper there, which is really important when you're going for that vintage aesthetic. You're going to want that nice taper, and you can see nicely signed on underneath the buckle there. Get that in the focus. Nice Tropic. And then it also had the T on top. And then what you'll do is you'll secure it. I've been wearing my watches a little bit higher on wrist than I used to. I think maybe it's just taste change with age. I find that these do flow a little bit better, riding up a little bit above the wrist bone. I used to kind of typically wear it on the wrist bone or below, but as you can see there, that's just magic on the wrist. It just wraps and conforms beautifully. Again, you have that rolled edge, which looks great. I will say that you do, if you are going to put this on a Seiko diver, the spring bars that come in these are typically going to be 2.5 millimeters thick, and then the tips are much larger. Same thing for Citizen. So the tips are going to be 1.1 millimeters. There's actually a dealer in the US that sells these on eBay, where you can get basically a 2 millimeter thick, but then you have the Seiko tips on the spring bar, so you get that perfect fit. You don't have to worry about that ghost clicking that you get when you actually will use a smaller one, or you don't have to worry about shoving a huge thick spring bar into here that it's really not meant to accommodate at the end of the day. So this thing is just awesome, guys. I did think that it did rate a direct kind of individual video because for me, I've always been looking for, this style. I really enjoy this style. My baby alpinist video, I'm using an Uncle Seiko style one, and it was really, really nice. Fantastic, even. That was a really great one, and I felt like I didn't need any more, but I didn't know what I was missing out on. So that's part of that. So again, those other straps that are this style, there's tons of them that are good, that are out there on the market. But if you want the high tier stuff, you want the nice one, you don't have to get stuck saying Tropic style, right? It's nice, and that's one of the reasons why I love Seiko in the same way, right? Like, this isn't a diver style watch, this is a dive watch. This thing is 100% presented. It is what it is. And yeah, sure, do I need sapphire? No. Hardlex is good enough. Do I need a Sprawn mainspring that's going to give me an extended power reserve to 70 hours and, additional anti-magnetic properties? No, I don't really need that. This is absolutely good enough. And a lot of those Tropic style straps are absolutely good enough. But sometimes you got to treat yourself, and especially when you find a piece that really inspires you, like this piece has here. I just love this aesthetic. The black, the steel, it's really, really timeless. I love it. I think it looks fantastic. I did originally have this on a NATO strap because the thinness was so impressive on this slim turtle that I was like, oh man, I can finally wear a Seiko mechanical diver on a NATO strap, because it's thin enough to where it's not going to be adding too much bulk. But you kind of miss out also on just taking advantage of how thin that is. And look at the way it just sits and lays. It's just fantastic, and it just fits. It just makes sense, So let's actually get this one on my other wrist here, so you can get a look. Little comparo there. And some of you, hey, if you have I'd say the previous generation, a lot of Seiko divers did have 22 millimeter lugs, whether it be the SKX or many of those first few Pro Specs style watches that started becoming very popular in the US, like the Samurai or the Shogun, and of course the Turtle reissue. So these are great for those as well. And I think especially with this particular aesthetic, because it is so timeless and just really, really dialed in, it just flows really well with this Tropic strap. Again, it just takes advantage of that vintage aesthetic, and it just gives it a really fun, playful style, but still really means business. Like, this is, I can't stress enough that it just fits and it feels right. It's not a dive style strap on a dive style watch. It is a diver strap on a diver's watch, and there's just something about that it resonates with me. I can appreciate it. So again, I'm not trying to bring down anyone's version of the Tropic strap, but I do have to say I absolutely see why these are worth what they're worth. In the same way that this the Rolex Oyster bracelet is outstanding. And yes, it's steel is steel, and a 3-link design is a 3-link design, and a glide lock style, and but until you experience the real deal, sometimes you just don't know what you're missing out on. No matter how good a version exists out there, sometimes that premium original is really, it just stands up, and it makes you wonder, and it makes you stop wondering, and helps you know why folks often imitate but never duplicate. And this strap has been imitated by many, and I think it's really been perfected by the modern Tropic strap brand, which I believe is owned by Synchron. They also own, and I'll do an isoframe versus Tropic video here in the future, because those are kind of the two main premium strap options that are out there, and there's other stuff that's out there, but again, I got this one and the watch from Market Long Island Watch, so big shout out to Mark. Super fast shipping, really great customer service, and of course he's an enthusiast, so I'm always happy to support that. And yeah, he's over here in the US, so he's a great dealer. So, and then if you're not in the same state, you don't have to pay things like sales tax, which is nice. So for me in California, it's nice to have a vendor on the East Coast as well. So with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do hit like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.